you know, not going to get too much into that. Oh, hey, just saw someone join the stream. Hey, welcome to the stream. I was just kind of rambling on a little bit about PvP and stuff. Just kind of giving some of my impressions of what I've understand about the Dark Souls 2 PvP in relation to Dark Souls 1 PvP. I haven't played Dark Souls 2 yet, though, so I'm kind of keeping my opinions a little bit, what's the best word? A little bit, held back, I'm just kind of more or less reciting what I've seen and, giving some comments on that. I'm just, don't take this with a grain of salt is what I'm trying to say, if you're interested in what I'm talking about at all. But yeah, I was mentioning that I've seen a little bit of talk about that the scaling is a little bit weird. Yeah. That the scaling's a little bit weird for melee weapons, and a good example of that in relation to Dark Souls 1. So I'm like using a claymore right now. Well, I mean, that's good to hear. I haven't played it yet, so I'm still reserving my opinions, and I've already pre-ordered it for the PC, so I'm going to play the game for sure. I'm not a big PvP player anyway. I would like there to be a good PvP. Oh yeah, definitely. 2 weeks left. I would like there to be a good PvP element to the game, but I'm probably not going to play it too much. If it's good though, I'll play it more, certainly. I'll probably spend a lot of my time messing around on single player for the most part in the game. Not everything. Anyway, yeah, so I was talking about the scaling a little bit. I had heard the scaling was kind of weird. That like a CC scaling weapon doesn't get as much from something like 40-40, that's strength and dexterity. You probably already know this. You seem to be familiar with the what's going on. But I should mention that I generally put these on YouTube later, so just want to make sure to explain it for anybody who might watch it on YouTube. So, my understanding is that the scaling is a little bit off in the game, whereas something like the claymore that I'm using now wouldn't really give out the same kind of damage output in Dark Souls 2, and that's disappointing to hear. That's not exactly a nice thing to hear about to me. And I've heard a lot of people talk about stuff from just comments I've read. They'll say things like you need to diversify your builds and stuff. And, I mean, I don't know about you, but I feel like that's kind of like a crap thing to say. Because you shouldn't have to shoehorn every single character to using something like magic. I don't think I'm alone in saying that either. I think a lot of people would agree that, just strictly using magic isn't exactly like isn't exactly going to make for a good, diverse PvP experience, I'm going to try something a little bit new with Bed of Chaos. I'm going to see if I can hit the shield thingies from over here with fire bombs or something. Never tried it before, so I may fail terribly at it. Yep, number one's failed terribly. I should just put this in my weapon hotbar. Perfect. Okay, let's see. Okay, might need to back up a little bit. It would be real sad if I can't hit this one. Can I hit it with a bow from here? I've never tried that. That didn't work. Oh, I would love to just be able to stand right here and just do this whole fight. I hate this fight. It's such a stupid fight. You probably know what I'm talking about. This fight's terrible. Well, I'll just do it the hard way. Really, what were they thinking? Just gonna have to shut up about my normal discussion for a moment here, and just finish this off so I can get back to talking about it. That Chaos is such a jerk. Damn it. There we go. Oh, fuck. I think I went about as far as New Game Plus Plus one time. I just wasn't necessarily a complete fan of just the enemies getting progressively tougher, you know? I think that's a cool idea, certainly. But I prefer the basic challenge. I think New Game Plus is a good challenge, certainly. But I just don't necessarily like the idea of continuing to add pluses to it and just making the enemies tougher and tougher to where it feels more like a chore than it does a challenge. If you get what I'm saying. I mean, there's a certain point, is what I'm basically saying, that you're going to have, like, the enemy health is going to be so high, and your attack is only going to be so high. And so, you know, you're just kind of going to be struggling against the enemies, not necessarily from any sort of lack of skill, but just a lack of solid damage output. I don't see how people, like, don't lose their sanity to do things like the guys that have done level 1 runs. Yeah, I heard about that, actually. About Dark Souls 2 having new stuff in New Game Plus and New Game Plus Plus. That's actually really exciting. I'm totally going to play those in Dark Souls 2. But as far as Dark Souls 1 and Demon Souls, and I only played really through one playthrough in Demon Souls. Oh, wow, that was close. What I was saying, though, is when it comes to the New Game Plus, I don't like the idea of just the whole scaling enemies. It just seems like a chore, and the people that do, like, the level 1 playthroughs with, like, New Game Plus 7 or something, I don't see how they can handle that. That is a certain mindset above and beyond what I can imagine. And yeah, I heard about the new items in New Game Plus. That's interesting, to say the least. I think that's really cool too. But I wonder how that would affect the PvP metagame though too. Because you got to consider that if there are certain items you can only get on New Game Plus, and say, you know, there's a certain, well, it's not really going to affect the PvP. I don't really know what I was about to say there, but it's probably, I was thinking something along the lines of, like, well, you might need to level up or something to a certain point in New Game Plus, but you never really need to do that, since, you know, people have done stuff like, wow, I thought I could jump there. That was my mistake. I mean, yeah, it's not really gonna affect the PvP. So forget I said anything about that. I was completely thinking in a different direction, and then just sort of discounted my own thoughts immediately. Yeah, I mean that they did that in Dark Souls. I mean, most of them I think would just stick around on New Game Plus anyway, because I mean you'd have to go through most if not all the single player to get pretty much what you wanted. You wouldn't have to, but I mean, for the most part, yeah. And that way you'd also be able to have the Berg as a PvP spot in Dark Souls. Well, I mean, you could just skip the Tars demon at the beginning. I've certainly done it a few times myself, but you know, I'm pretty sure you get what I'm saying, regardless. But I was thinking if there's like good stuff that you have to get on New Game Plus Plus, then that would sort of affect the PvP in the sense that, you know, you'd have to get the New Game Plus Plus, and for some people that might actually prove to be, oh, really? Okay, I just want to mention in the chat, he says you cannot invade people from New Game when you're in New Game Plus, only higher. That's... I don't know if that's actually a good idea, to be honest. Because I've heard a lot of discussion about that when it pertained to Dark Souls 1. Oh, hello, Ohnospiteful. Yeah, so when it pertained to Dark Souls 1, you know, there's a lot of people that talked about, it was back in the days, the bottomless box glitch. You know, people would talk about, like, oh, is it fair, is it not fair, that sort of thing. And there was a lot of talk about, also, if people that are low level and legitimately picked up, you know, high level items, if they should be allowed to PvP and all this stuff. And then there was also talk about, like, well, you know, should the same go for say, for instance, if they're in New Game Plus. And you know, there's a lot of hot debate about that. You know, generally though, what I got is most people thought that that's a bad idea, and so I'm surprised that they went with that for Dark Souls 2. I mean, I guess we'll see if it ends up splitting some of the community, but I'm really surprised about that. Yeah, I'll give a shout out, PC Master Race, totally, always. Oh yeah, now sorry, I didn't see your question from before. I should have made that clear. Yeah, I'm playing on PC. I've actually got the game, or the first game, on Xbox 360, but I just don't plan on playing on Xbox or PS3 for Dark Souls 2. I'm just gonna get it when it comes out on PC. I'd prefer to play a game on PC these days. I hate Beta Chaos. Why is Beta Chaos so stupid? Why you do this, FromSoft? I mean, I'm certainly going to play Dark Souls 2 when it comes out on PC. I'll be streaming it, too, once I get the game. I just wanted to do a playthrough, you know, one last playthrough of Dark Souls 2 before, I mean, not Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 1 before Dark Souls 2 comes out. I hate Beta Chaos. I wouldn't be surprised if I died again. I know this is silly, but I'm totally going to run over there and grab my Bloodstain right now, in the middle of the battle. Well, I can't come back and grab it, unless I, like, ran all the way back here anyway, so I suppose it's not a terrible idea. Oh, I didn't even really have any souls. Well, that was pointless. I apologize. I feel bad for that. That was so pointless. Okay. Let's And God, I missed it. Figures. In case you guys are wondering why I'm coming from the bonfire in front of the centipede demon, I just kind of prefer that bonfire when taking out Beta Chaos. I don't know if everyone else tends to prefer the bonfire in the middle of all the dragon butt things. I forget what they're called. I just always called them dragon butts. But I tend to use the one in front of the centipede demon. It's just, I feel like there's less to have to put up with on the way to the boss fight. And it's a boss that I'm bound to die a couple of times on anyway. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you so much. It's really cool to see some guys come out here and watch the stream. I usually stream in the morning just for the, you know, to put it on YouTube and everything, and I usually don't expect a lot of viewers or anything when I do it in the morning. But it's always refreshing to see when some guys come out, and, you know, I'd certainly like to thank you guys for checking it out and everything, and you know, having a little bit of discussion about Dark Souls 2. I can't wait till it comes out. I'm honestly pretty psyched about it. I'm still a little apprehensive about the PvP, but you know, I'm gonna try it myself and see how the patches go and everything. And you know, I'm certainly going to be streaming, you know, my playthrough, and I would love to also stream some PvP in both Dark Souls and Dark Souls 1 at some point, but I have to get some characters up to PvP levels in Dark Souls 1 first. I haven't, like I said before, I mentioned, oh, well, yeah, I'm in the U.S., and it's about 11:30 in the morning right now. Yeah, I've heard different things. I've heard some people say that say that they like how the PvP plays out, and you know, I've heard a lot of people also say that things like melee is not as viable. So, you know, take it as it goes, basically. Damn it! I thought I was gonna actually miss the swipes. Oh well. It's been a while since I've played through the game as well. I used to play on 360 primarily, and I think the last time I played through on 360 was probably... oh, it's probably been a year, honestly, since I last played through on 360. I think I did a bow-only playthrough, which was quite ridiculous. If anyone's ever tried that, I mean, bow only is But honestly, Ornstein and Smo weren't too bad bow only, because there's a little bit of a strategy. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, that against big Ornstein, that you can kind of get him stuck on the pillars and take him out with a crossbow. So that's pretty much what my strategy was for that. Smo wasn't too bad either. I mean, I didn't take out Smo by himself, but taking him out with Ornstein and Smo, just kind of had to line up the shots and dodge around forever. I swear, at some point I'm gonna make the Beta Chaos jump, and I'll move on somewhere else. Honestly, I'm probably going to go to the Tomb of Giants. I've still got Manus left in this playthrough to fight. I finished all the rest of Ulusil except for Manus. And I still haven't done Sif and the Four Kings. I'm waiting till after Ulusil to do Sif and the Four Kings. Just because I want to show off the special cutscene with Sif. And I've already dissed Framped, so I'm gonna be talking to Koth after I fight the Four Kings. I love the sliding animation. It looks so silly. Okay. Just want to take it slow. Awesome. Awesome. I was just about to make the jump too. Incredible. Again, I want to apologize for that. Bed of chaos. So frustrating. So you guys, Ohnospiteful, you said you've been playing some Dark Souls 2. What are you running in Dark Souls 2? Just curious what kind of build you're using, since you said you're playing some PvP and stuff. I'm just interested because, like I said earlier, I've heard, differing reports about Melee's usefulness, and I've heard a lot of people say that, Melee seems to only be useful with something like, a buff on it or an elemental weapon. And maybe I don't understand this correctly, but I've also heard some people say that elemental weapons can be further buffed, or am I just hearing that wrong? Are they talking about like maybe like weapons that would normally be upgraded with Twinkling Titanite, like special weapons can be buffed now? Because I heard that the Moonlight Greatsword could be buffed, and that sounds a little crazy. But I just kind of want to know some stuff about this, because I don't particularly know what's the deal. I'm just reciting what I've heard. And it would be, to me, it sounds like that would be ridiculous, to be honest. You have like a lightning weapon, and then you can like throw on more lightning. That doesn't sound right. So that's why I'm asking. Also, though, I mean, I understand that apparently the Moonlight Greatsword one is legitimate, because I heard that that's part of what they're going to be patching out. And okay, yeah, that's one thing I was wondering. What about other Twinkling Titanite weapons? I understand the Black Knight weapons make a return. Are they able to be buffed too? And I mean, I didn't use many like buffable weapons in Dark Souls anyway, or I didn't use many buffs, I should say, weapon buffs. So I mean, I'm not entirely sure if you couldn't buff Twinkling Titanite weapons, but I seem to remember you couldn't buff Twinkling Titanite weapons in Dark Souls, and that's why I'm asking. Okay, I'm gonna do the swipe. And I'm just gonna run, jump. Fight is no. Wow. Wow. I was just about to say the fight is over too. That was Now I take full credit for all the deaths here. This has just been I've just yeah. What is the Santier spear? Uh, is that like is that like a normal weapon or all boss weapons are buffable? That's crazy. That is crazy. Well, though, I've seen like a couple of the early boss weapons, like the Dragon Rider and the Pursuer. I mean, their weapons seem kind of like normal anyway. So I guess I can kind of understand that in some ways. But still, that's crazy. So they I saw that they gave halberds the ability to attack behind a shield. And but what do you mean by four different move sets? Because I was thinking you might be meaning like one move set is the attack from behind the shield. Is that what you're talking about? I just mentioned the halberd is sort of a somewhat related. I didn't actually think you were talking about halberd. I know you're not. But yeah, okay. So boss weapons do have still special properties. That's interesting. Ugh. Sorry for the silence for a second. I've got a little bit of a sinus allergy this morning and kind of just trying to clear my nose and throat a little bit. Oh, okay. I forgot about the twin blade weapons. They seem quite fascinating. Yeah, it didn't seem like there was many in the game, but they still seem like a really interesting addition. Okay, I'm gonna wait for him to swipe again. And wonderful. Not gonna make the same mistake twice. Now it's over. Thank fucking God it's over. You say the twin blades are pretty powerful in PvP? Yeah, I've heard that the dual wielding also might be particularly powerful in PvP as well. Alright. I'm gonna head back to Firelink Shrine. Yeah, I've heard some people complain a little bit about poise in Dark Souls 2 PvP. And I'm just wondering if since you seem to have some experience with it, is poise not quite as powerful as it was before? I just think that's kind of an odd decision, because poise to me it certainly seemed powerful. And you know, I was talking about a little bit about this earlier. I think before you guys came in, and Poison Dark Souls 1, it's not something that every build has to have, but it was something that most builds had, and I certainly think it's a good idea to try to move more away from something, but I don't think it's a good idea to make it like broken, like completely underpowered broken. Oh wow. Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that it like literally does nothing. And that's kind of sad to me, honestly. I like I said, I didn't think that poise was too powerful. I thought it was kind of shitty that it seemed to be so prevalent, and you know, most people are going to use poise, but it doesn't. It feels like it shouldn't be useful, though. I mean, it shouldn't be useless. There should be some use for poise, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. But wow, that's kind of crazy that they would so drastically change it. Well, I've heard some people say, though, and I wonder if you guys can shed some light on this, that in actuality, yeah, I've seen the guard break before. That's pretty interesting. But I've heard some talk about that the problem with poise may be that it's actually used for things like if you're in the middle of an action or something and you take a hit, then you poise through it. But I'm not sure about that. Yeah, like I said, in Dark Souls 1, in this game that is, you know, to some extent I thought that poise was a little bit powerful just because, you know, everybody would use it, essentially. Not everybody, but pretty much anybody who was, you know, looking at the game and was like, hey, I need to get something to where I don't get stun locked to oblivion, then they'd use poise. I mean, it's as simple as that. I know that there were things like toggle escape, which I honestly was not very familiar with until recently because, you know, I've heard a little bit about it being taken out of Dark Souls 2. But I mean, that's not really a replacement for something like poise, anyway. So many people spam what? Just like what, R1? Or are you talking about like spam magic or what exactly? This would be a good time to be able to jump off ladders. Ha. I'm skipping a lot of the catacombs because I've already been through here once before earlier. I've already fought Pinwheel on this playthrough. I just haven't gone to the Tomb of Giants yet. And I'm not messing with the Bone Wheel skeletons. Oop. Okay. The benefits of poise, and then I get stun locked to almost death. Awesome. Awesome that I didn't die, that is. Oh. Close, close, close. And yeah, I'm going to have to heal here before I jump off. Okay. Awesome. Oh, so they are spamming R1. That is a shame, to be honest. And that's why I do think that poise needs to be in some form or fashion. Because, you will tend to get that, it seems like. If you have people that just, if you don't have any sort of poise, if you have some form of stun, then you're just going to get people that are just going to try to spam R1 because it's the fast attack and everything. So I certainly think that there should be some poise, maybe not as strong as it was in Dark Souls 1. Ah, come on. There we go. I don't think I've ever really made a character that oh, I just realized I'm a little bit overweight. Yeah, I'll take the bow off. Huh. Ugh. Sorry, I just didn't think about being overweight here. What can I cut down on? Ooh. That's pretty crazy. Stun locked with a dagger at 51 poise. Like, that's kind of what I'm talking about right there. I think if you're gonna have poise in the game, or yeah, if you're gonna have some kind of poise in the game, it should at least be able to protect you from the smaller weapons at that sort of rate. I mean, 51 poise protecting you from something like a greatsword maybe shouldn't happen, because greatsword's going to be slow anyway. But I don't necessarily think that it should, be protecting you from, or it shouldn't be protecting you from a dagger. That seems a little bit crazy. I guess I'm going to put on the Channeler waistcloth. Okay, that does it for me. Okay, yeah, nothing over there. Oh yeah. Well, I know how to get over there. No, I'm not actually going to jump over there. So, what about magic though? I've heard a lot about magic in Dark Souls 2 being particularly powerful, or not necessarily like totally the most powerful thing, but that it is a preferred thing though. I'm just wondering if you, Ohnospiteful, could comment a little bit on that. Okay, let me hit this bonfire over here. So really, Okay, well, I've got a question because you've been mentioning this stuff like being stun locked, and that you think that magic's pretty powerful and everything so far in the game. Just a question because you mentioned earlier too that you thought that the PvP was actually pretty good, and I'm wondering then if there's these things that you don't like about it, what is it that then makes you think that it's very good? If you don't mind me asking, I'm not trying to, single you out or anything.
Good day. What are you doing in the catacombs? No? There's a fine... I found it. In any case.
I do tend to like the PvP, but I don't mind. I mean, I meant to say the PvE. I do like the PvE, and I tend to play PvE a little bit more than PvP. That being said, I will probably play some PvP, because I mean, you know, to me, one of the joys about playing PvE is setting up, you know, maybe a character to just mess around with on PvP too. A lot of my playthroughs that I did on back on 360, I would just kind of like mess around with different builds, and I enjoyed playing through the PvE a lot. And then I would kind of mess around with the builds at different various PvP levels. Like I would probably stop at about 30 in some points and just try some PvP at that section just to see how it would go. And then I'd probably stop at about 60 sometimes too, and check out PvP at that stage with my character. I've admittedly even done a little bit of invasions with my level 1 playthrough character. So, I take it you're talking about the Dark Souls PvP, because Ohnospiteful was mentioning one-shots with the magic as well. So that's kind of crazy, you know. I'm hearing that from you guys about this whole thing about one-shots in the PvP. That seems really unfortunate, but I mean, then again, there's still time for it to be patched, I suppose. I mean, well, of course, there's plenty of time for it to be patched. It's just whether or not it's going to actually be patched correctly. They've seen, I think they've shown a good track record, but at the same time, you know, I was mentioning this also earlier before you guys got on here, that there seems to be a pretty big difficulty in balancing in games single-player elements around multiplayer elements, and you tend to see games that will balance the multiplayer completely different, and I honestly lean more towards that style of balance. I mean, it doesn't quite work in Dark Souls, obviously, or in the Souls series in general, because of the way they've set up the multiplayer to work. But they've also kind of set up the single player to work in that same sense of like as the multiplayer, or with the same sort of balance as the multiplayer. You know, one of the examples I like to bring up is that if you guys are familiar with the Quake series, I mean, it's a series of first-person shooters that are known for their highly competitive multiplayer. And Quake 4, and Quake 4 is maybe not the best example of the Quake series, but Quake 4, you know, most recent one that I've played in it, and the multiplayer is still very similar to the previous game's multiplayer. But what's kind of interesting about it is that it's very different from the single player. I miscounted the number of guys down there. I thought they were all crowded. Oh well, it happens. And you know, I understand they can't do that with the Souls game because, I mean, the nature of their multiplayer, how it intertwines with the single player, just won't allow that sort of thing anyway. Is this back up to the... This was back up to the... Yeah, where I was trying to go. At the same time, though, I would love to see if they could, you know, separate some of those elements, or perhaps just pay a little bit more attention to how they play out. I think it would make it a much more enjoyable multiplayer experience, and a multiplayer experience that I would be much more inclined to definitely participate in. think I'm gonna make it. Nope. Oh, well, handy, I suppose, for that to happen. I don't know why I thought it was a good idea to just run down here against these guys. Okay, try it again. Made it. Now, here's the million-dollar question. Do I want to plunging attack these guys? Because I kind of do. I'm not even going to lie. I really want to just jump off and plunging attack them. Oop. Well, I killed all but 2 of them. That's good. Ha! Okay. I knew I could handle that. Alright. Well, actually, it's I usually end my streams about noon here, my time, and it's pretty close to noon. It's usually when I go and get lunch with my wife and everything. So I'm gonna run back to this bonfire, and it was certainly great talking to you guys. I really enjoyed hearing about some Dark Souls 2 information and everything. And it was wonderful. Thanks for checking out the channel and everything. To Vlad and Ohnospiteful, thank both of you guys. And thanks for checking out my YouTube channel too, Vlad. That was really cool of you. Anyway, so I'm gonna end it right here then. Thanks again for guys. I can't thank you enough for coming out. And I'll be back to Monday morning. See you guys. Bye.